What are we doing?
So,
So I was thinking this would be more like a tactical workflow kind of convo. I got the Leo chapter. I'm going through revisions right now, so that'll be sent out in the next probably couple hours or by tomorrow at the latest.
okay.
And it definitely has reinvigorated me to finish the Brad chapter because I really liked what you did with getting the guys out of jail, and it gave me a great scene of how angry they're going to be when they show up at Brad's house. So I'm gonna be rewriting that part because it just came across as a little flat, and now I have a much better sense of like how they're going to show up at his house.
What they have been through recently, how they feel about it.
Because what I think happened here is Leo's lawyers probably skate on the edges of ethical legal constraints, I would guess.
I think they get the job done. I think what they do is make sure the job gets done.
I'm thinking Leo's lawyer figured out who has the data on who called in that tip. So they show up there knowing it was him.
That seems plausible.
Yeah. So yeah, that having them show up there and know it was him, like, yeah, technically they're looking for Josie and Jeremy, but really Baca is there looking for Brad.
Yeah, it's like we're looking. We think maybe Josie or this Jeremy guy called in this tip, but really whoever's in the way is fine.
Right. Okay. Then the other thing is, how much work do you think you're going to get done, or we collectively are going to get done before the start of next year?
Well, I mean,
how busy is your holiday season?
I got guests coming in starting the 22nd and leaving the 6th.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, there's going to be time to work in there. It's a pretty low key thing. We're just going to hang out and play some Call of Cthulhu and talk philosophy until the 6th. But I mean, I also don't have anything for this project on my plate right now.
No, you don't.
So I got anything I do is going to be doing, that other stuff.
Yeah, which there's a ton of to do for me too. So the question is, do we want to talk about next chapters for Josie?
I think we should hold off until we get the Brad chapter in hand.
Okay. All right.
Once we have the Brad chapter in hand, I think we're going to see what happens next. I think it will present itself. And this is a difference in our creative lives. I know you really like having the strong outline for the whole thing and where it's going to be and how it's going. My experience is much more that if I know kind of, where we're ending, by the time we get to the end of the outline that we have right now, and get that stuff, what needs to happen next will be pretty obvious. I'm much more of the guy who's driving in the headlights. And I'm also the guy who sometimes throws away a book and redoes it from scratch. So, I see the pluses and the minuses.
I would say that we would be in a lot of trouble right now had we not done such extensive outlining for the other project.
I think it would have been a very different place. That's true. No, the other project, I think, there were some essential questions we needed to get answered on that one that I think we did by doing the outline.
Okay, so the only thing really left to do is I'll finish these revisions on Leo and get Brad over, and then we'll figure out where to go from there. One thing I wanted to make sure of, so I know it's just an offhanded thing to remind people of sort of what he looks like, but in there you talk about how Baca is Mexican, like a Mexican national.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he can be. He was a Marine, so he has to at the very least be naturalized American. So he I think he can be first generation.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I had forgotten that he was a Marine.
Yeah,
I had forgotten that he served.
It's a super simple change. It doesn't matter at all, but I just thought I would toss it out there so that we keep in mind he's Hispanic, but he's not actually a Mexican citizen.
Okay. No, I literally I just forgot that he served in the armed forces here. Yeah. So, and since so much of Leo's stuff is based out of Mexico, I thought it was
right.
But yeah, that's a.
I think Mike was hiring from guys he knew, and all the guys he knew are all former U.S. military guys.
Okay, so do we want to take Cellier out of Algiers?
No, I like him being Algerian. I like that, but I mean, he at the minimum, they if you're going to serve in the armed forces, I believe you have to be naturalized.
Well, and does everybody Mike hires come from the armed services here?
I don't think we ever said what Cellier's background was. So he could be Algerian special forces.
I mean, he could be Algerian special. He could be a mercenary who was born there and then did a bunch of work elsewhere. This is not.
I mean, he could have served in the French Foreign Legion.
Sure.
Could be whatever we want.
I just kind of liked having there being nods to the rest of the world, not just.
No, I liked that he was Algerian. I thought that was a little. And then in the rewrite we can have him have a little bit of an accent,
as we see
different
fit
from everybody else's. Yeah,
sure.
So no, I wouldn't change that. Let me think about where an Algerian would have picked up his military training.
I mean, if you think if it's one of those details we need. I mean, the fact that he's a high level corporate merc who is Algerian,
yeah,
that may be just that's fascinating. Huh.
Yeah.
And we move on.
And we may never use it, but I like to know those details in case I want to toss it in.
Fair enough.
And I think for somebody like Mike, hire people have and he spends so much time in the early part talking about why he hires guys who have been through the military training, so you can flip the switch and they just become professionals.
They turn into it there. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Okay. That was the only thing I noticed. Oh, and I would say that adding the Leo chapter, giving us an opportunity for that dream sequence, even though that was not the intention, I think it turned out great.
I had, so since we're talking to the class here, part of what happened with that one is I just finished reading Pet Sematary for the first time.
Oh, King's original?
Yeah, I'd never read it. I just went through it, and there are a bunch of techniques that King uses in that, like having the cognitive dissonance exist in the text in brackets. So it's like it's like this, it's like this, it's not like this. It's like that I kind of lifted some of those for that, and yeah, I did like the Cthulhuid horror dream.
Yeah, I think it turned out great.
Yeah. So, but and it does remind us what the big bad is, and that the big bad is not actually Leo.
Right. Well, and the thing I was thinking as I was reading it is there's two reactions to overwhelming fear, right? Or, I'm a dichotomist. There's two reactions. There's the I'm terrified of this thing, so I'm going to find a way to fight back in whatever form that is, right? And then there's the I'm terrified of this thing, so I'm going to allow myself to be consumed by it. Because once I've been consumed, I don't have to be afraid anymore.
Right.
And I like that what we're setting up is those two reactions to the same thing with Mike and Leo.
Leo saying, "We will embrace this and become," and Mike going, or
we'll
maybe,
fight.
or maybe we'll not do that. Maybe we'll do the other thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that we've now created the why and the path that they're going to take two different versions of.
Well, and I like Leo being a little bit of an asshole to Mike. I liked the kind of the smiley, friendly, uh, passive aggressive. I'm your boss, and we both know it. Version of being a bully.
Yeah. Well, it's how white collar dudes big dick you, right? Because Mike is in every other sense.
Yeah, no, seriously.
The stereotypical alpha. He's big, he's strong, he's muscular, he's got military training, he knows how to fight, he knows how to shoot guns.
Comfortable with violence.
Leo doesn't have any of that. In a fist fight, Leo's going to last about 0.3 of a second.
Only thing that Leo has is a checkbook.
That's right. And so when he big dicks Mike, he's going to big dick him on, hey, remember who pays your check?
Yeah.
Hey, he Neanderthal over there? Guess who pays your bills?
I was talking to somebody in the last week or so about the uber rich preparing their getaways for when the world collapses, the societal collapse, shelters for the incredibly rich. Like, Zuckerberg on Kauai. Where it's like, oh, we'll just avoid the destruction of the world by having these enclaves. And I was saying, yeah, that's really doing is setting up a post-apocalyptic future where the power is run by the former heads of security of all of these rich guys.
Yeah. I know. My former boss, who was very rich, at one point he was talking about he wanted to buy some gold. It's like when society collapses, their money doesn't work anymore. I want some gold. I need gold so that I still have wealth in gold. And I was like, dude, I have a gun and I know where your gold is. So guess who has gold?
Yeah, it's not you.
It's not you. You're not the person with gold.
Yeah, no. Yeah. It's the guy who knows where to find your gold is the guy with gold.
Yes.
It's like, living next to a bunch of Mormons and having a gun. You have a lot of stored food.
I used to tease. So my friend Trevor, who's Mormon, I used to tease him about that. He'd be like, you should have food storage. I'm like, Trevor, I know where you live and I have a gun, so I have food storage.
Yeah.
Now, of course, now he's doing pistol target shooting as his hobby. So I'm not going to go try to take his food storage anymore.
You see, he heard you. He
heard me.
You taught him. You taught him. You're a force of education in the world.
I have changed the world in a very negative way.
A small negative way. It's fine. The only negative to it is he might shoot at you. I mean, that's
yeah. And the negative is now I don't know where the food storage is. I got to find a different Mormon. I got to find an unarmed Mormon.
But we do have a question about how much work we're going to get done in the next couple of weeks. Specifically, in that next Wednesday is Christmas Day, and the Wednesday after that is New Year's Day. Obviously,
we're not doing next Wednesday.
And the one after that is New Year's Day, and I don't know,
Well, let's plan for this then. I'm gonna send out the revised Leo. I'm gonna send out Brad.
Okay.
So that'll give us two more like text things to post. Is there any other text stuff we can post, or do we want to do?
I mean, if you can do those and put together, if you do those, if you get the Brad out, I'll edit Brad.
Yeah.
And I'll get that back out. And if we could get an updated master document.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Once Brad has been edited, I will definitely send out a master.
Then we will have put out the Leo, the edited Leo, the Brad, the edited Brad, and the master document.
Yes. Okay. Let's plan for that over the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Works for me.
That sounds good. And I have to stop. I have to stop being 4 years old. I'm 4 years old right now.
I get it. It honestly, I'm amazed that any of us is doing anything right now. The level of rowdiness and exhaustion and kind of residual trauma from the last decade.
Yeah.
It's been a rough decade.
It is interesting watching our friends, our sort of circle of people, how everybody reacts. Like, my reaction is, I'm just going to lock all my doors, hide in my house, and fuck the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Paolo immediately goes full, like, he immediately goes the darkest of the dark.
Well, he is after all Paolo.
Yeah.
I find myself well, I'm being much more intentional these days about not getting online.
Yeah.
And not engaging with entertainment news.
Yeah.
That's it. It makes me saner.
Entertainment news, as in news for entertainment, or news about entertainment?
News for entertainment.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Elon Musk did something outrageous. It's like, yeah, I know. And the sky is blue. Mosquitoes are annoying. Elon Musk did something outrageous.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't have the spare neurotransmitter to spend getting excited about shit I can't control.
We should have worked harder to be billionaires, then we could be reaping the profits of all this corporate takeover of the country.
We're going to reap some profits. We're not billionaires, but we are. Neither are we working class at this point. We are shareholders. You and I.
Yeah. All right. Well, having said all of that, I'm going to go be 4 years old for a little while, and then send out a updated Leo.
Okay, and as soon as you get the Brad out, I will put hands to it and try to get it cranked quickly.
Okay.